Welcome to Jobtopia. I was hoping to play that music a little bit longer, but the tech gremlins are not allowing me. So big apologies to everybody that love the intro. You'll just have to listen to a bunch more episodes. All right. So I have recently got back from a beautiful trip up to Michigan. And across my travels, I would recommend Michigan as one of the top 5 to top 10 places to visit in America. It's absolutely gorgeous. Michigan has Lake Michigan. There's a reason why some lakes are greater than others, and got some great referrals along the way. And listen, we can talk robotics, we can talk automation, but we also have to blend in a little pleasure, all right, as we do this. And so, yes, we've got an interesting topic today, robotics as a service. You know, this is not a new idea. Like, think of your cell phone. Your cell phone's kind of like hardware as a service. It's a very, very smart idea for businesses to look at how can they automate, how can they bring in robotics and do it in such a way that it's affordable. It's genius, honestly, because there's going to be so many more add-ons and innovations, and just being in this model, I think, just gives you a lot of flexibility. And I've got my good friend from Formic. I've got John, Mr. Michigan himself. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Tony. Thanks for having me on today. Excited to talk about automation. Excited to hear more about your trip up north and talk about what's coming in the future of automation as a service and how we're eliminating the need for manual dependency in food and beverage manufacturing.
Yeah, that's a big topic, and there's a lot to get to there. But I have to first give you props for the tip. So we made our way all the way across. I had never been across Big Mac, the Mackinac Bridge. So just before
did you ride the grate?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you have to. Anyways.
Yes. I assume I know what you mean. I mean, that's how the whole thing is plated. Is there a different way to go across?
Well, there's a paved side, and then there's a side that actually has grates to let the wind flow through the bridge. You can see through the bridge.
Yes. No, you're right. Well, it would make sense that you would want wind to flow through that thing because it's a monster suspension bridge. It's one of the largest in the States. So you had given me a referral to a Polish restaurant, Legs.
The Legs Inn.
The Legs Inn. I will just tell you. So we were driving up. We went through the tunnel of trees. We kind of went through all these cute little areas. And you get to Legs Inn, and it's this incredible spot on the bluff. It's up on the bluffs, and it's actually outstanding food. Service was great, but it's the view. You know, you're just sitting out there. It's incredible. Although I don't know if you know this, but the Canadian fires were kind of, they weren't great at the time we were there. So there was some haze. You could definitely smell it.
Yeah, the Legs Inn is a fantastic place. My grandma tells stories. My grandmother's 97 years old, by the way, for the audience.
God bless her.
Yeah, she's an amazing soul. But she tells me memories of when she was up north in the tunnel of trees and in that area, and she talks about Legs Inn to this day. So the fact that you got to go up there and see a part of northern Michigan that is close to my family and close to my grandma and tell stories of her childhood.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm glad we could
I'm really
connect
glad.
on that.
I tell you, I'm so glad you referred that place to us because it kind of set off a whole chain of other events that we did that day. And so for those of you who are looking online here, you can see right there behind my head. That's the M22. Not that you take M22 to get up there, but that's Michigan's famous road.
I actually have an M22 hat, Tony.
Should have let me know. M22, that M22 store is super expensive, man. You go in there, they're jacked up. They're very proud of M22. So
I have not been to the M22 store.
Well, so save yourself a few bucks. Save yourself a few bucks. As I was saying, the world of robotics and the spaces that you guys are focused on inside of food and beverage. Honestly, I didn't realize that F&B was the space that you guys were mostly concentrated in. I did a pod. I for about 2.5 years, I was podcasting specifically in that space, and very scrappy, very uh, DIY kind of entrepreneurs in food and beverage. They do a lot with very few people, and they all use co-packers. They use other, supply chain companies to help them kind of manage getting all their products obviously created, made, packed, and shipped. So I'm assuming that this is kind of the space that you're focused in is on that on the manufacturing side.
Yeah, the food and beverage world is it's a unique space. You've got your legacy food and beverage manufacturers, you've got your giants, and you've got everybody in between. And when we think about automation and how they are leveraging and adopting automation, they really run into some major challenges because they've been doing things the same way for a really long time. And automation is enabling these food and beverage manufacturers from large corporate companies to small mom and pop shops to increase their throughput, stabilize production, forecast their production schedules even more, reduce their ergonomic risk, and ultimately cost savings and return on investment. So we see a dynamic in the food and beverage world where whether you're a small size company or a large size company, people are looking to creative solutions because they've been relying on manual labor to
Oh yeah.
put it put a tortilla into a box or to stack that box onto a pallet. Or if you even go further upstream, like you look at the filling assets now that are all over the floor, or the bagging equipment, right? I mean, at one point in time, those processes were done by humans. And now we're seeing those ripple effects of automation move towards the end of the line. And there's a very nice cost savings and return on investment associated with automation as a whole, whether that is robotics as a service or that is on the capital automation side.
At CapEx, yeah, where you purchase it.
Yeah.
Well, you touched on something there, just having a hard time breaking away from how it's been done in the past. And there are
Mm.
some industries that are just kind of stuck with that. And I honestly, I think staffing is one of those. Staffing could use a lot of help. They're just now starting to use automations and AI and some other processes. You get into manufacturing, particularly supply chain and warehousing, it's pretty typical that, hey, we're just going to throw bodies at this. And I know you and I had kind of talked offline, and you're like, hey, Tony, what we're doing, could replace headcount. And I'm like, that that's okay for me to talk about because we have to understand companies and workforces have to upskill.
Yeah.
We have to keep shifting and sliding into something more productive, and it's safer too. So if you've got someone who's bending over, all day long packing, how long are they going to be on that job, right? But now, if there's a system that can, stack for them, that frees them up to do something of higher value, of higher use, in my opinion. And I'm sure you've seen that in the warehouses and the manufacturing settings, right? You've seen an upskilling, you've seen a change in the way labor is being used. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a conversation I have quite frequently, whether it's a plant manager, a director of operations, VP of operations, or the CEO. We're talking about the need to upskill their employees to more value adding jobs. Let them focus on production means that actually move the needle forward for their business. I used to work at a large logistics company, and part of that role was stacking boxes. And I know how unfulfilling that job can be. It's very monotonous. It's has ergonomic risk. And when we introduce automation into the equation, now we're able to allow those employees to go solve problems, to go focus on continuous improvement, to work with their teams on more leadership related activities, to find waste, right? All of the lean concepts and
Yeah.
continuous improvement
Six
that
Sigma.
that we want our employees to be focusing on, we allow them to reallocate their time and ultimately that leads to them having a greater purpose while they're at work, which enhances your culture.
There you
And
go.
yeah, and the
It
automation is
improves.
it is the automation is often viewed as, oh, they're stealing my job, or my job is being taken away from me. I never really view it through that lens. And the reason I say that is because when we think about how automation impacts operations and creates stability and creates consistency, maybe increases additional throughput, those employees want to find purpose at work. And when they find their purpose at work, they're more likely to not leave, have better relationships, not be as focused on a, we'll quote, hourly wage or something like that. The turnover is less. So automation brings in several benefits that are maybe not directly tied to the physical asset themselves on the floor, but allows for more upskilling and repurposing of labor for those manufacturers, whether you're a small manufacturer or a beast in the market.
Well, listen, there's a concentration, and we've seen this in just about every industry, but like in the stock market, they have the Magnificent Seven, and then you have all the other stocks. I mean, you've just got the Nvidias and the Facebooks that just skyrocket up and they pull the rest of the market with them, and they're the big boys. Well, it's the same way really in commercial food. I mean, if you're a small mid-size and you're trying to compete, well, good luck. I mean, you're a rounding error for these companies. So I'm seeing the trend where, your small mid-sized firms, they have got to be thinking, like, where's our competitive edge? I mean, I would think if I was, selling, if I was trying to introduce these concepts, that this makes you more flexible. This makes you nimble. Big companies are like a barge, and we've all heard those analogies. I think when you can go small and get niched and really dominate and automate and really do something special, I think that helps you. And I think your customers will probably appreciate that you're, kind of advancing, in that way. So I'm curious when you look at, because we've been talking, you and I, for quite a while offline, and I know you talk to lots of different customers and your current clients. When you're introducing these robots and automation, how much of your time do you feel like you're spending in actual like change management? How much do you feel like you have to help them through like the mental side, the transition from that's the old way, this is the new way? Do you feel like you're like a psychologist, like a coach at some point?
It's a good question. Uh, I always try to use the term WIFM, right? What's in it for me? And once the WIFM message is conveyed to the employees on the production floor, the frontline team members, the plant manager, all the way to the CEO, once everyone understands and has a clear direction of WIFM, what's in it for me, everything becomes so much easier. People understand why certain things are being done on the floor in terms of automation. People adopt much quicker. Even the hardest folks to potentially have change management conversations with understand that the world moves fast. Things change, things evolve, and we're doing something for a purpose and for a specific benefit. And here's why. And once that why is conveyed, normally the deployments, whether it's a physical automation deployment or in my previous life a technology deployment, which I've done over 150 of across United States manufacturing facilities, frontline coaching and technology deployment. So I understand the space well. Once you convey what's in it for them and how it's going to make their life easier, people are people and they go, okay, I understand.
So I'm just curious, like, who are the toughest people to convince?
Well, the toughest people to convince, if we're being brutally honest, are is the older generation.
Yeah,
And
yeah. We're
I will
talking to
say
you, boomers.
it's not their fault. It's not their
No.
fault.
Well, you know what it is? It's like it's another change. You got to think it's just like it's another thing, it's another thing, it's another thing. But
Yeah, well, and the reason why I say it's not their fault is because they haven't been exposed to technology their whole life, like I
it's
have,
true.
or like my 12-year-old nephews have, right? They might have a smartphone. Some of them don't even have a smartphone. So when we start to talk about new
Yeah.
ways to do things on the production floor, and it involves technology, maybe they don't have the right training and resources to upskill them at work to work new pieces of equipment, or they didn't grow up with it. So it's not bread and butter for them to navigate applications or to select a certain SKU programming. But what I can say is that back to Witham, what's in it for me? Once you convey what is in it for them and you show them how to do it and you make it very easy, there always is good buy-in.
Yeah.
You have to make it easy and not complicated, and that's really a key. That's a key component.
So I'm curious, not that you guys invented this idea of robots as a service, but for people who may not understand what that means, can you just kind of touch on the like the I'm at what all the advantages are, or some of the advantages. I mean, you mentioned one, right? It's OpEx, it's not CapEx. We're not going to get into an accounting dissertation here, but that isn't an accounting uh, terminology. So
Mhm.
it kind of hits the balance sheet in a different place.
Yeah.
Um, so let's kind of set the, unless you want to take a stab at it. I mean, if you want to try to explain CapEx, OpEx, that's fine. But aside from that, what would you say are some of the other benefits that customers are seeing, or that maybe you've even witnessed in this model?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and speak to Formic's business model because it is a reason why I joined the organization and why I believe we have so much growth upcoming for the business as we continue to help food and beverage manufacturers. So the first thing is the OpEx model. Capital projects require a large amount of money upfront. And those capital projects have to get everybody involved from operations, engineering, project management, quality, your R&D. And the net casts really wide for the people that you need to get involved for these large projects. Even if it's a small project, you're still getting those people involved. And the approvals and the life cycle of the project take a really long time. When you think about automation, you want to solve your problems quickly, and with capital projects, that seems to go out the window. The second component with the robots as a service, at least from Formic's perspective, is we handle all of the engineering, the solutioning, the design, the install, the controls programming. Once the contract is signed, we handle everything and guarantee that performance of the asset on the production floor day one. And if you compare that model to a capital model, the team is now the manufacturer is responsible for all of the design, is responsible for all the controls, is responsible for all the risk involved with the capital automation purchase. Not to mention the long lead times and the complexity that they want to take on. It's a beast. The second component of the Formix value proposition is actually the robot itself. So the palletizer, the case packer, the case erector, or our automated floor cleaning equipment, we provide the asset to the customer with performance guaranteed on day one. Also, we fully manage and support that asset. So there's no more burden on the internal maintenance teams for that manufacturer. Formic owns the maintenance, whether that's corrective or preventative. We
Yeah.
monitor that asset 24/7, 365. And often we're calling customers and saying, hey, we see this happening. Can you validate? Right? And so now you start to get into this proactive state of manufacturing that really our customers find a lot of value in knowing that Even if I'm not paying 100% attention to it, I know that Formic is. And then the
Well,
third, oh,
well,
go ahead,
yeah, I was
Tony.
going to say, well, before you go to the last one, I think let me jump in on that is because what you don't want is an unplanned downtime.
Yeah, nobody does.
Yeah, I mean it's a huge it's a huge loss. So any kind of preventative, any kind of remote monitoring, we see that that's definitely coming into it. Before you get to your other point there, I'm curious. I've been discovering that to get the automation working the right way, sometimes you need a an on-site private like 5G network. Are there any other like upgrades to the system that like the infrastructure of the building that have to be considered, or it's not necessary for this type of robotics?
It's always relevant to the conversation. Um, in my previous life in the digital transformation space, this was always a topic of primary concern,
Oh,
right? Because we're collecting data from assets, we're distributing data uh, across the manufacturing internetworks.
yes.
We're delivering the right data to the right person at the right time.
Yeah.
With the physical automation, I do see that as less of a barrier from a connectivity standpoint. We still need it, but it's not as pressing as a
Got it.
true, say, digital transformation. But it is certainly something to consider.
Yeah, and particularly if you needed something with a really, really low latency for some reason, then yes, you would. That's when you go with it. Okay, well that's good to know for people who have listened to other episodes of mine. We've talked about that, so they might be thinking, did I need that? Okay, good. So what was the other point you wanted to make
Yeah, yeah. And
before I cut you
the
off?
third pillar is getting data from that asset. So kind of right in line with what you just asked about, right? I need to know how many cases did I run of SKU ABC 123, or how far in my production order am I running, or am I 500 of 1200 cases completed? Where am I at? What's the status? What's my next production run? So that gives our customers confidence in Formic for what products we're running, how much of them are we running, and then here's the critical part that relates to everybody that could be listening to this call. It provides a single source of truth. When
Yes.
you provide single source of truth to food and bev manufacturing, to industrial manufacturing, whatever the manufacturing is, you are providing them an avenue to ask deeper questions around, why did I run better this Tuesday versus last Tuesday? I'm running the same product. I need to investigate that. So
Oh,
when
that's
we
interesting.
Yeah, so when we think about how do we leverage physical automation to help continuous improvement efforts and ask the right questions,
You
the
got to have
single
the
source
data.
of truth. Yeah, it's really important.
Well, and that's I hadn't even thought about that, but if you're relying on human labor, then there are so many variables. Well, Jim didn't get in on time, or he had he was out too late and got in, not at his best, and so on and so forth. So you really eliminate all of that when you know the machine, the robot, the automation is X per hour. Okay. So if there's a slowdown, why? Right? It lets you do, I guess what you're saying, really more root cause analysis. It probably helps you take a better look at your overall ops across your entire warehouse, your entire supply chain. And now you're talking about massive improvements. And I think too, in this space, a lot of times incremental changes, they compound. It's kind of like
Mhm.
investing. You
Yeah.
know, you might think, well, I didn't make a lot of money this week. Well, if you made cash and you could reinvest it, now it's compounding. If you were to do that every week and find little tweaks and just keep adding on, it's a compounding effect. So any one particular day may not be some remarkable thing, but hey, if week by week you're kind of chipping away at this elephant, now you can see some real gains.
that's the premise of continuous improvement, right? The Toyota Kata, getting better every day, the incremental steps. It's rudimentary and critical for manufacturing success and going back to the culture to get a little bit better every day.
There
I
you go.
actually remember, this is a while ago now, but my high school football coach told me if you get a little bit better every day, someday you're going to be pretty good. And I've lived with that
No, I'm
philosophy
sorry.
for a
It just
long
struck
time.
me as funny the way he said it. Like, John, you suck right now, but let me tell you, every day, if you get a little bit better, you might be good. I mean, the opportunity was there for a joke, John. I really felt like it was really close on that one.
It, it, uh,
So
I'm not
listen,
going to take it to heart, man. I've grown a lot since high school.
oh my God, listen, I don't want anyone to look back on my high school. That's just that chapter closed, done. We're now here, okay. But by the way, what you're with your build? I mean, you're kind of a lean guy. So, DB or wide receiver? What were you? Safety?
I played running back and outside linebacker. I might look, I'm 185 pounds, believe it or not. My brother said I looked like an ultra marathoner yesterday. So I kind of took that one to heart.
Like that. That's okay. Is that good or bad?
I'll take it as a compliment. I'm a pretty healthy guy. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Have you ever done an ultra?
I am not a runner. I do go to
No.
the
Okay.
gym, right? I'm a frequent gym goer. I do my 100 push-ups a day, 100 air squats. But I'm not really
Pull
a
up. Hold
bulk
on
kind
now.
of fitness
How
guy.
about pull ups? You're gonna do push ups. You're gonna do. What about the pull ups?
All right. I'm not making excuses for myself. I had reconstructive shoulder surgery in
Okay.
college.
Please don't do any
So
pull ups for
I'm
God's
not,
sakes.
I can rep out 15 of them right now. I just try not to make it a habit because when my shoulder hurts, my
It
life
hurt.
stops.
I
I
did
think.
for about 6, maybe 8 months. I was like super intense into CrossFit. Have you talked to guys? Do you know some guys who used to go to CrossFit?
My sisters do it.
Okay. Then
Well, used to, maybe.
yeah. Yeah. Well, if they became indoctrinated into that culture, then you're used to hearing all the things that we put ourselves through.
I know it's high intensity,
Definitely
short
hot.
short time frame, right?
Yes.
Lots of different movements.
Very competitive
Yeah.
type of type environment. Yeah. The
Which
type
is
of
how I structure my workouts too, Tony.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't.
hit is more interesting. Honestly, it's so boring because having done CrossFit now and then going back to a normal gym, I got to be honest, is really boring. The only way I can make it interesting is if I go as fast as I can.
Oh,
I'm
see,
under
I'm a little bit the opposite. I like my own routine and pace, and nobody else needs to push John to get better at something.
John does
John
that on his
pushes
own.
John to get better at something. That's how I live.
Yes, yes, exactly. Well, then you're in the right job. You know, you've hit your niche because now you can take that passion and beat your customers over the head and say, "All right, how are we going to get better today?"
All right, and I go through that battle, and sometimes the battle is months and months and months. And in the sales world, when you see an opportunity to help someone and they close the door in front
I
of
know it's
you,
like
it's okay,
it's like I'm
right? And
just
then
trying to help. It's like I could legitimately help you. You know?
yeah, and then when that door is opened, and then when you work with them and you do a project, and then you get a call from them, and
Oh, nice.
they're like, you know what, John?
You're right.
Thank you. Thank you for being just as aggressive as you needed to help me because now my business is better. And those are the
I mean,
best phone calls I could ever get as a professional because we all want to make a difference, right? You always hear that cliche when college kids graduate.
no,
We
but
want to make a difference, right? Well, this is how
it's
you
still true.
actually make a difference,
Yeah, it's still true.
impacting the manufacturing world, helping businesses get better, upskilling those employees, enhancing the culture of the manufacturing community. This is what manufacturing professionals and the support function and support networks live for. And I love when I field those calls. It makes me feel great.
Yeah, well, I hope they go to your LinkedIn page and say that, and go to your Google and give you 5 stars, because that's the other aspect of the world we live in today. Is, people want to see it. People want to see that online. I mean, you couldn't buy that type of review. I mean, that's amazing. And I got to say, the reason I reached out to you guys, and I'm so glad you wanted to come on and chat with us, is that I was just fascinated with the robotics as a service. I felt like that was a really smart way to approach the marketplace. I feel like it's up, and you've laid out the reasons why people should do it, but I do think it helps speed. Um, I've I've mentioned this probably 100 times. I'll mention it again. But the philosophy I live by is act, learn, adjust. And if have you ever taken? I'm sure you have at some point, some kind of like a personality test.
Yeah.
Everyone's, particularly in business and sales, you tend to take that kind of stuff. Have you ever heard of Clifton Strengths Finder?
Maybe I have, Tony, but not something I could speak to.
Oh, it's okay. No, I wasn't. It wasn't a quiz. Well, but the Clifton Strengths Finder, I would recommend you might really, it might be very eye opening for you. It's great. But anyway, long story short, my first trait that I always show up with is activator, and the second one is ideation. So, for example, we had an IT issue, you and I, right? And so we had
Mhm.
to jump into, let's take action, fix it, come up with some ideas. That kind of stuff is right up my alley. And when when I when I discover a product, or I discover a company that seems to be living that type of approach, I just find it fascinating, because I think the robotics as a service allows a company to quickly adopt something new. And you have to adopt something quickly. You can't dabble with it. You need to
But Tony, can
pivot.
I ask you something?
Yeah.
What's the problem with doing something quickly? What do you absorb a lot of?
Um, well, I mean, potentially mistakes, money.
Mistakes? Yeah,
Could
money,
be, could
risk.
be. Yes.
You
Yes.
absorb a lot of
Exactly.
risk.
See, and that's exactly why this service to me made sense, because
Yeah.
you offload that. I intuitively saw that, because like I'm trying to get us to adopt some other types of automation, and most of it's online.
Mhm.
It's like a software as a service, if you will. And to me, it's not like I'm having to go out and develop the programming, bring it in, buy servers. And no, it's outdated as soon as I do that. And I kind of feel like that's the same way with robotics and automation. If you
Yeah.
can bring it in this kind of model, then you've eliminated that. It's like, look, we're under contract, yeah, but we manage everything. No, to me, it just made perfect sense for an ever evolving space.
Yeah, I had a call with a plant manager and a senior executive this morning of the same company. And I asked the plant manager, I said, what's the driver for you here? And he goes, consistency in production. And I asked the executive, I said, what's the driver for you? And he goes, you guys mitigate my risk. You guys can put automation on my floor in about 20 weeks. If it doesn't work, you take it away. I'm not out $400,000.
Right.
I don't have an asset now under a tarp in the back of my facility. And
Exactly.
and this enables manufacturers to get their feet wet with automation, to try automation. And then the good thing is that, and this is where Formic's business model really comes in, is we're dependent on building trust with our customers and our clients, our manufacturing customers, I should say, specifically, that they rely on Formic to manage, support, and maintain the assets. And we make it this easy for them,
Yeah.
right? It's off of their plate once it's in their facility. And
It's
what all of
nice.
that snowballs into is the risk mitigation of working with Formic.
Yeah. I think again, I love the concept. And, I hope, more salespeople listen to this. I hope more marketing people listen to this because I think it's a great concept, if you can kind of work it into your business model. Well, John, I mean, this was great. I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day. I know we had to move things around a couple times. Schedules have been as they are, but hey,
They have been
business.
very busy lately.
Hey, man,
This,
business is good. You
yeah,
can't when you got to fish. You got when the fish are biting, you can't come off the lake.
couldn't agree anymore. So are you a fisher or are you a catcher, Tony?
Oh, obviously more fishing, but I have done a fair amount of I've done a fair amount of catching. I did not do anything when I was up on Lake Michigan, although I was at Fishtown in the town of Leland. Have you been to Leland?
I have not. No.
Okay, so see,
When I think of Leland, I think of the Tigers' old manager.
well, yeah, he was also for the Pirates too.
I hope my brother doesn't watch this. He's gonna be like,
Jim,
you don't
hey,
know
no,
what
hang on, I
year
just
Jim
got it.
Leland.
Jim, that's it. Is Jim Leland?
Jim
Well, see,
Leland,
I'm a
yeah.
little older than you, so he was the head coach for the Pirates when they had Barry Bonds and Andy Van Slyke, and when I'm a Braves fan, so when Sid slid and knocked them out of the World Series, it was the NLCS. Anyway, side note there with Leland, but no, that's a great town. You should check it out. And right there in the town, there's a little harbor, and then it dumps into Lake Michigan. And there's this really cool little area called Fishtown, and that's where all the boats come in, all the fishermen, all the charter boats. And so, I went down there and talked to the captains, and yeah, so the salmon was running. Salmon was introduced into Lake Michigan to fix a problem with the lampreys. The lampreys were destroying all the fish, and it took them many years, I mean, to figure out how to get rid of the lamprey, and they came up with the salmon. So anyway,
I did not know that.
there you go. I've done some research. I love fish, and so yes, done a lot of catching. I fish. I don't fish in Georgia anymore. I do more fishing now in North Carolina. I like to go up to the lakes up there. Fishing's very different. But what about you? You a
Uh, I'm not much of a fisherman myself. I don't hunt right now. I used to when I had a little more time and I was in high school, and that's kind of what the friend group did, right? Or
yeah,
but
yeah.
now as I'd like to do more outdoor things. I am an avid snowmobiler when I get a chance in the wintertime. I have a few buddies. We go up to the Munising, Michigan area several times every winter. In the summer, I love boating. Unfortunately, I don't have a boat, just too much on the go in my early 30s with my professional career. I'm focusing on what's important right now. And as much as I'd love to do some of those other things, they're just kind of falling to the back burner.
Yeah, look,
My priority and focus is with my family and friends right
well, and and find a friend with a boat. I mean, that should be your next priority. Find a
now.
friend with a boat because it's there. It's like boating as a service. It's like bass.
Wow.
Hey,
Hey, we'll talk
I,
offline about that, Tony.
I'm here all
Bass,
week. I'm here all week, folks. Bass.
bass boats, bass fishing
Okay,
boats.
listen,
There we
it
go.
can't get any worse than this, guys. All right, well, if you've stuck around this long, God bless you. I'm glad everyone got a chance to talk to John. Well, meet John and Formic. I've known these guys for a while, and I really wanted everyone to just kind of get to know more about this new type of service that I love. John, great seeing you again today, my friend. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Really appreciate it. Great chatting with you. Your office setup is much cooler than mine. I'm slowly making my way there. But thanks for having me on, and it was a pleasure.
FOMO is real, my friend. FOMO is real.